What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got the game that made Jalen Hurts a superstar. Let's check this
Jalen
out.
Hurts wasn't supposed to be here. Not
That
long
boy
ago,
Hurts.
some questioned if he was even the Eagles' long-term answer. Now, he's outdueled Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage and cemented himself as one of the NFL's
Technically, he did it
elite
twice.
quarterbacks.
They just
But
didn't win the
this
first
rise
time.
to stardom wasn't handed to him. It was earned, one clutch performance at a time. And in today's video, we're going to give him the props that he deserves and revisit
Facts.
the games that made Jalen Hurts
A lot of people not gonna say
superstar.
that he a top 5 quarterback, bro. They not ready for that conversation. He has done everything that he has to do to be able to be great in this league, bro. Now the stats in the regular season might not, be all this crazy shit, him throwing for like 4,000, 5,000 yards and stuff like that. But when it comes to playoff time, he locks the fuck in and he does what it takes to win. That's all that matters, bro. And now he got a ring, he got a Super Bowl MVP. You know what I'm saying? He a top 5 quarterback in my eyes, but people don't want to say that, bro.
Now, there's definitely
People
no
just want to hate
shortages of
because it's the
moments
Eagles.
across
Like,
Jalen
bro,
Hurts' collegiate
like,
and
gang,
pro
y'all
career
gonna
that
learn,
have
gang.
contributed
Y'all
to
gonna
his
learn.
superstar status.
I've been fucking
His
with Hurts since he
debut
was
at
at
Alabama
Bama.
was one for the ages, fumbling his first snap only to pass for 2 touchdowns when it was all said and done, demonstrating resilience that the nation would come to know and love. And as we all know, he did compete for a national championship as a freshman, which is no small feat. But it would be his sophomore effort that truly tested Hurts' capabilities and toughness. As we all recall, he was infamously benched for Tua Tagovailoa in the 2018 national championship.
That
Nevertheless,
bomb
though,
to
he
Smitty
stuck
down
around
the
and
left
Hurts
side.
would get his shot at redemption when he had to replace an injured Tagovailoa in the 2018 SEC championship game. Although he led an epic comeback and then proceeded to enjoy a remarkable season in Oklahoma the following year, Jalen Hurts entered a loaded 2020 draft class shrouded in mystery. His benching in favor of Tua, who was one of the other quarterbacks available, seriously tanked his value, with lingering concerns around his passing accuracy and reading of the game keeping his name out of most first-round mock drafts. Even despite a highly decorated college career where he was one legendary Joe Burrow season away from winning a Heisman Trophy, Jalen Hurts fell all the way to pick 53, where Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles sat waiting with open arms. And not only did the draft day slide for Jalen Hurts cause him to have something even more to prove once he was in the NFL, but the situation that he was also drafted to with the Eagles already having Carson Wentz kind of meant that his career would be put on the back burners at the start. You see, Carson Wentz was just 3 years removed from a legendary run of form in 2017, where he was playing at an MVP-worthy level, before a torn ACL cut his season short. And as we all know, Philly went on to win the Super Bowl without him, which meant Wentz had a massive chip on his shoulder when he returned to full fitness. However, post-injury Wentz was nowhere near the same player he had been, which was especially concerning given the 4-year, $128 million contract they had just
I think his
signed into
confidence
in
was shot
2019.
after that.
So by 2020, the metaphorical chip on Wentz's shoulder was beginning to weigh him down, causing the Eagles brass to seriously lose hope, hence the decision to draft Hurts. Given this context as well too, with Eagles fans fiercely divided about the quarterback situation, Jalen Hurts would have
Go back, bro. Go back to that picture.
Fiercely divided
Go back to why is he looking at Hurts like that, bro? Bro, dog, Wentz is killing me, gang.
About the quarterback situation, Jalen Hurts would have to step up and show his worth. His road to becoming a superstar in the pros would inevitably be long, but if there was one thing about Jalen that prevailed above all else, it was his poise and patience. He'd finally get a shot at the starting gig in Week 14 of the 2020 season, following a sharp decline in Wentz's play that signaled the end of his time as an Eagle. Hurts stepped up and the rookie provided relative stability and security as the woeful Eagles team finished the season 4-10-1. With Wentz off to Indianapolis, Hurts was now the Eagles' official starter going into 2021, making a statement in the Birds' opening game of the season. Down in Atlanta, Hurts connected with former Bama teammate Devonta Smith for the score on a surgical opening drive, his first of 3 touchdown passes on the day.
I remember this
The Eagles' number 1 played with a swagger and maturity far beyond his years, fully justifying the decision to stick with him and appearing to be a great value pick. But his first season in control of the offense was definitely not without its growing pains. A 3-interception performance against the Giants gave his doubters plenty of ammo. An early playoff exit was an acceptable result for Hurts and the new coaching staff led by Nick Sirianni, but Jalen was still a ways off from being considered an elite quarterback. The 2022 offseason proved pivotal in Philadelphia, with the acquisition of A.J. Brown.
Like this is what all a quarterback needs nowadays, bro. A true number one receiver can take a quarterback a long way in this league, bro. If you got a number one target, you're gonna most likely succeed in the NFL, like in my opinion. But you gotta have skill to go along with that. But A.J. Brown just skyrocketed Jalen Hurts after this, bro. Jalen Hurts was playing perfect football after they got A.J. Brown.
A powerful new weapon. When the season kicked off, teams across the league would finally get a glimpse of how good Jalen Hurts could be.
Facts.
After a shootout opening day win in Denver, the Birds hosted a formidable Vikings team in Week 2.
This is the game where Slayton locked up Jettis, right?
Meets the eye. In front of a home crowd and with all his new shiny toys on prime time, the entire country would be tuning in to see what Jalen Hurts was really about, with the weight of newfound expectations for the franchise on his shoulders. Philly was no longer a plucky underdog, but a serious football team with the experience to challenge anyone. The Eagles and the Vikings looked like contenders coming into 2022, meaning that this game would end up having massive implications for the NFC's power dynamics, whichever way it went, setting the stage for an early but decisive clash at the Lincoln. With a full year as a starter under his belt and a chance to send a message to the rest of the league, Jalen Hurts seized the moment. He was absolutely efficient in his opening drive, completing multiple tight window throws, which eventually brought Philly down to the Vikings' 3-yard line. Hurts kept the ball on a read option play on 1st and goal, fighting through contact, demonstrating his pure athleticism as he powered his way through 3 purple helmets and into the end zone. Hurts remained cool, calm, and collected, delivering accurate passes on the run and from the pocket on the Eagles' 3rd drive, finding Quez Watkins with a beautiful deep ball for a 53-yard score to put Philly up 14-0. The Vikings finally responded with a touchdown of their own, but even with the added pressure, Jalen wasn't flustered. He once again drove the Birds downfield, finding himself with an important 3rd and short just before the 2-minute warning. A play that had the potential to completely shift the momentum of the game. On yet another read option play, this time from the Minnesota 27, Hurts runs to the outside. Once he passes the 1st down marker, he looks to step out of bounds to avoid the contact, but then changes his mind, instead accelerating back towards the middle of the field, brushing off Jordan Hicks before powering through 2 more Vikings defenders to grab his 2nd rushing score of the night. The Eagles got the ball back with 1 minute and 21 seconds left in the half when Hurts ran a tidy 2-minute drill to stretch Philly's lead to 24-7, which is how the scoreboard would remain for the rest of the night.
Dude, this nigga ever smile, man?
Through the air and 57 yards on the ground for 3 total touchdowns is a fine stat line for a quarterback. The reason that this game put the new Jalen Hurts on the map was because it proved not only a capable quarterback, but one hell of a football player. His passing looked cleaner than it had been at any other point in his NFL career, and he combined this with a physicality that is rarely seen from star quarterbacks. This lent his game its own unique edge, setting the tone for a legendary season in the city of brotherly love. Jalen finished 2nd in MVP voting in 2022 with over 3,700 passing yards for 22 touchdowns and only 6
Who won MVP in 2022?
Add to that 760 yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground, and he had justifiably found himself in the conversation amongst the other elite quarterbacks. A strong performance in a Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs would have helped his case, but instead made it impossible to include Jalen Hurts in the upper echelon of quarterbacks, as his team had come up short on the biggest stage. This meant that the Eagles entered 2023 hellbent on avenging their Super Bowl loss, but the churn in Philly's coaching staff was beginning to backfire. All initially did appear well, as an incredibly talented roster produced a 10-1 record. That wasn't until they were absolutely manhandled by the 49ers.
That ended their season right there.
Fall apart at the seams.
They were not the same after that.
Career high 15 interceptions as the Eagles choked home field advantage in the playoffs, floundering in a wildcard loss to the Bucs. In the span of a year, Jalen Hurts had gone from the elite conversation to a game manager at best, ultimately finding himself back at square one, where his value to the team was seriously being questioned. The Eagles start to 2024 cast further down on the quarterback's
they be talk though, but
late season
they ride for their team.
To
I respect
Saquon
it.
Barkley, putting in an all-time shift in the backfield, meaning the majority of offensive output came from the rushing attack. To pile on the pressure too, AJ Brown was visibly discontent with his target share, leading to rumors of a locker room rift because of Hurts' lackluster contributions under center. But when the postseason arrived, Jalen Hurts reminded everybody how good he was. Hurts put in a flawless performance against the Packers in the wildcard round, the Rams in a snowy divisional round, and a rout of the Commanders in the NFC Championship game, often setting the tone with his physical playing calmness under pressure. The win over Washington in particular showed a different side of Hurts, where he was visibly demonstrating emotion after connecting with AJ Brown for a touchdown. With the chance to complete the perfect revenge arc against Kansas City in Super Bowl 59, very little emphasis was placed on Hurts' return to the biggest stage. After all, he had a statistically underwhelming year and was nowhere near the conversation for NFL honors, Pro Bowl, or any of the like. The Chiefs' three-peat was all anyone could talk about, which presented the Eagles with a chance to remind everyone exactly who their superstar quarterback was. And while Kansas City did commit to stopping the run, which had been the focal point for Philly's offense, the Birds leaned on their quarterback. Not because they had to, but because they could, knowing full well that the nation had forgotten about the elite signal caller that lay dormant at the heart of Sirianni's offense. After coming up empty,
and I feel like Saquon really opened Hurts up, bro. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really have to do too much. They really, you know what I'm saying, depended on Saquon throughout the regular season, but once it came to the playoffs, everybody knew that they were gonna try to give it to 26 first. You know what I'm saying? And the Commanders and Rams, they both couldn't stop him, but everybody knew the Chiefs was gonna try to, you know what I'm saying, stop him with Steve Spagnuolo, you know, his whole scheme and shit. So they really stopped Saquon, but they won't prepare for his arm, bro.
Goddard and Jahan Dotson marched down the field.
That's what makes the Eagles so dangerous to go against. And then you got this play. Speaking of this play is not getting banned, bro. Hey, clap it up, bro. I'm happy, bro, because why are we banning a QB sneak? Like, real shit. If you mad about the play, then stop it. Learn to stop it, game. My Ravens be using this play, so shit, hey, it helps us out. You know what I'm saying?
Next possession, Hurts did throw an interception.
But like, why try to ban a QB sneak?
What looked to be a productive drive. The defense did their part though, allowing Hurts to lead a less than convincing possession where they had to settle for a field goal. A little hope from Cooper DeJean took the Eagles' lead to 17-0 as the sides exchanged punts shortly thereafter. When they got the ball back, Hurts threw the ball well behind a streaking AJ Brown on 3rd and 3, a worrying reminder of the locker room drama from earlier in the year. The duo had little time to ponder the miscue though, as a Zach Bomb pick set them up inside the KC 15, where Brown snagged a second down score on the same sideline where he had watched the ball sail out of bounds just 4 plays earlier. Heading into halftime with a commanding 27-0 lead was a great start for the Eagles, but it was in the second half that Jalen Hurts truly left his mark on the game. After Kansas City's turnover on downs on their first possession out of halftime, Philly took over near midfield. And now up 27-0 with less than 3 minutes left in the third quarter of the Super Bowl, with the Offensive Player of the Year at running back, all conventional wisdom puts to draining the clock. But in the defining moment of this Super Bowl, refusing to take their foot off the gas, the Eagles gave Jalen Hurts another chance to remind everyone watching on the grand stage of them all just how good he
Bombs
is.
Away.
34-0. Against the team that ruined his dreams in 2022, Jalen Hurts made a career-defining throw, launching an absolute missile to Devonta Smith, the dagger in the most lopsided revenge game the Super Bowl has ever seen. The game pretty much ended on that play. Jalen Hurts was awarded Super Bowl MVP for his efforts, and finally, after a season of playing second fiddle, he was able to refresh America's memory that Jalen Hurts is a superstar.
Hey man, shit. I don't know what you got. Look at Rondo at the bottom. This still a legendary ass reaction, bro. That nigga Rondo funny as shit. But hey man, I wanna know what you guys think down in the comments below. Y'all let me know what other NFL videos I'm going to react to. Without further ado, I'm out.
I'ma make them feel me, make them people when they show me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broke. But I know I'm chosen, I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.